Incredible flavours, even better stories. One pour, 10 minutes. Aussie bourbon lovers sharing bourbon with Australia.
Oh, not super satisfactory, that cork.
It was more like a
pop.
No, it wasn't a pop at all.
It was kind of like a
fizz
Oh,
or a hiss or something.
It's quite full. That's good. What are we drinking, H?
We're drinking some Yellowstone.
It's just Yellowstone Select, I think, isn't it? Is that what they call it?
Yellowstone Select. Delicious bourbon.
And whereabouts is this? What distillery is this hailing from?
Yellowstone.
Come on, it's not. Limestone Branch?
Yeah.
This is just the brand called Yellowstone. It's from Limestone Branch Distillery.
Limestone Branch, but the brand is Yellowstone. Correct.
Well done. Excellent.
There you
go.
go.
4 points for Helen. Cheers. Quite a good noise.
Better than the pop.
Do you know what's fun? Well, you know what's fun because you were there with me.
At Limestone Branch.
Yeah, we were there this time last week or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
almost.
this time last week.
What can you tell us about Limestone Branch? And Yellowstone, indeed.
Yeah. Well, lots of great history from Limestone Branch. I'm going to keep saying Yellowstone, but from Limestone Branch. Yeah, I really love the fact that the both sort of sides of the family of the people who are now distilling, like often it's kind of, they go back on the father's side or back on the mother's side, whereas both sides of the family had a lot of history in the bourbon making.
So the master distiller is Stephen B. Beam, and that surname is recognisable for a good reason.
Yes.
And there's a lot of Beams kicking about in Kentucky.
Yeah,
making bourbon.
Well, there's quite a few in the family.
Yep. Exactly. And, sorry, I've interrupted you.
No, thanks.
But Stephen B. Beam is who's kind of taken it on. His great-grandfather was a guy called Minor Case Beam, who was the cousin of Jim Beam, or James B. Beam, who was known as Jim. And
well, they had a trick question for us at the tour we were on when they said they were one of the only distilleries to keep distilling without a medical license, because either during Prohibition the distilleries either were shut down and couldn't distill, or there were a select number that stayed open because they managed to get a medical license.
I think it's 6 or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a small number. But these guys, they kept distilling but without a medical license. And they asked us how they reckon they did it, and we weren't quite sure. But it's because they moved to Canada.
Minor Case Beam. Minor Case doesn't seem like someone's name, does it? But it is. That's his name.
Yeah.
Minor Case Beam's son, Guy, who kind of had inherited the distillery, moved it to Canada and kept...
he moved to Canada and kept distilling.
Kept distilling, yeah.
Yeah. He left his wife and 10 kids.
Well,
or 8 kids. It was eight kids. He came back for a few visits and ended up as 10.
Prohibition, hey?
Well, you hope he came back for a few visits because he ended up with 10 kids.
I think about what happened to us during lockdown, and we were upset about that guy who went to WA to watch the footy or whatever.
Yeah.
This is like the kind of, I feel like this guy is the guy, his name was Guy, is the guy that everyone would have been envious of because he got to go to Canada and keep drinking.
Yeah, he just left
and just come back for conjugal visits.
Yeah. To visit his wife and 8, 9, 10 kids.
Not bad. Not bad.
I just props to her for staying behind, looking after the farm and keeping the kids
and people say
alive.
You're the wife of the century. See, there's other good ones out there. There's more than one excellent wife.
Don't know anyone who says that, David. Thanks.
No, definitely.
So what delicious notes are we getting on our Yellowstone Select from Limestone Branch?
So they make a few expressions of this. This is you can get this one quite readily in Australia. This is kind of one of the reasons that I thought we should both have a pour of this tonight, but also go and visit the distillery, is you can get this quite easily. What kind of notes are you getting on the nose? I get honey far too much. I'm getting a bit of citrus actually as well.
Yeah.
And then heaps of wood.
You get a harvesty kind of smell.
Are you getting some grain?
Sweet. A little bit of grain, yeah.
Nah, I'm just getting fun citrus notes. It's young. Like, I think that's the thing. I can, you know, when you get a little bit more of that wood, like in young wood flavours over the caramelly vanillas, that to me is like, to me, and I'm probably using the wrong words, seems like it's a bit young.
A younger one, yeah. I definitely, you can get that fruit.
But then get it into your mouth and you get that. Yeah. I think that's really, there's some interesting kind of fruity, apricot-y kind of notes for me in there when you get it
I was going to say lemon and limey. Like I feel like orchard kind of.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
A bit of a tropical vibe for a bourbon.
And it's got so we kind of only got halfway through the story because so Minor Case Beam's son guy goes across the border to Canada and distills in Canada during Prohibition and then comes back once the coast is clear. And they keep distilling. But
then only 2 of his kids kind of stayed in the distilling industry, one of which was the grandfather of the bloke that was now running. Is that correct?
See, now we're going to get the family tree wrong. But
there was 2. They had 2 of those 10 kids were kind of stayed in the distilling.
Did they? Okay.
Business,
yep.
And one of them was his grandfather, I think, is how it worked.
Let's say it's
But then his grandmother, there was also a connection back to the dance on his grandmother's side. So he then, that's the place we were at was his grandmother's distillery. So even though it was from his grandfather's side, he ended up owning his grandmother's distillery or something like that. Can't quite remember, but that was really...
All of this should come with a fact-checking, like some kind of like encyclopedia for you to look at what
Google
we were talking about.
Limestone Branch.
You should look
Yellowstone Bourbon to double-check anything we're saying, but it's a good story.
Well, whatever you were saying is an interesting and confusing story, sure. Yellowstone's named after the national park that was opened in the same year that this was first kind of made. So 1872, when they first made this. This is back in the day. So this is still when Minor Case is doing it.
Yeah.
And it was because he'd gone out to where Yellowstone was and said, this is beautiful and natural and all the things that we're trying to do with our bourbon and we should name it after that. And then he thought it was a good marketing.
Yeah, marketing.
Yeah. And it's still got Yellowstone National Park on the cover, on the sticker, on the label. So it went around, kind of moved around a little bit and was distilled most recently at Heaven Hill, I think. But then Stephen Beam kind of said, well, I want to open up.
It's like his own little...
Yeah, Limestone Branch. And so opened it up and is now distilling it again back at their own distillery, the family distillery now.
Yeah. Cute little farm, gorgeous dog.
Yeah. It's a cool little tour. And you go on those big kind of industrial, not really that big, but like on distillery tours and you see the fermenting.
The massive scale of
tanks
some of
and
them.
stuff. But this one, the
so tiny
tanks that they're using it, you could almost reach from one side to the other. It's kind of almost comically small. But it makes for a lovely small kind of facility and a nice tour.
And they can take you through the whole process and it was real. I really enjoyed seeing like how tiny it was and how you kind of got to see the whole lot. It wasn't sort of like, and this other big section's off at another place and another big section off at another place. It was like, this is us, this is what we do. Got to feed from a barrel, which was a bit fun.
Cool. They have like a little experimental kind of mini rick house, which is made from a shipping container. It has a barrel in there that you feed from on the tour, which is really cool, and then do a taste at the back. One of the other fun things that happens on the tour is that, this is a spoiler alert, if you want to go on the tour, maybe we're ruining it for you. So Jim Beam have a bottle called Old Tub, which is kind of like really ye olde expression of the Jim Beam thing. And these guys had at the same time something called Old Trump. Nothing to do with any recent presidents. But then the joke was, or not the joke, but the question was, who is Old Trump in this picture? And there's an old picture behind them.
They have this massive picture of all these guys sitting around smoking and drinking, and they ask you to guess which one is Old Trump, because that's what the whiskey or the bourbon was named after. And we all took a guess. I guess the young guy in the cap, somebody else on the tour guessed the old dude in the chair, but Dave got it right.
It was the dog. Yeah. Old Trump was the dog in the picture.
No other guys in the picture. It was the dog.
Anyway, you can definitely get Yellowstone around. We'll pour a pour of minor case, which is the other expression they make at Limestone Branch, which is named for minor case beam another time. But if you get over to Kentucky and you want to check out a nice small distillery doing cool stuff,
Yeah.
you should check them out. They do good stuff.
They make delightful bourbon.
Yeah.
Nice
With a
and
cool
fruity.
story, lots of history, and all linked back to the Yellowstone National Park. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you're connected with us on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube, and stay connected with us by clicking subscribe on your favourite podcast app.